But this is the latest update on what's going on with the United Healthcare CEO that was basically targeted in New York and Manhattan.
Now on the brazen murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown yesterday morning. The chilling moment was captured on video, which we are freezing. CBS News has learned that the bullets fired had words written on them, on the bullet casings. They were found on those shell casings recovered at the scene. Christina Fan joins us now live from the scene with an update on exactly what was said, what was written on those shell casings. Christina?
That's right, Chris. CBS News has just confirmed with law enforcement officials that the words deny, defend, and depose were written on those shell casings recovered right here behind us where the shooting took place. Investigators are now examining whether or not those words point to a motive related to insurance companies' responses to those claims. Surveillance video captures the brazen targeted attack on United Healthcare CEO.
I'm not going to show the actual shot. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward past that.
Witnesses. One snapped this photo.
I was holding my phone, then I heard the shot. And when I looked at the guy was with the gun, like, the silent gun.
Thompson was heading to the Hilton Hotel in Midtown to address investors at a United Healthcare conference. The NYPD is working with authorities in Minnesota, where Thompson is from, to identify any specific threats against him. Police sources say detectives have uncovered rantings directed at the company, but no threats to his personal safety.
Many people passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait for his intended target. Every indication is
Fast forward to past that. I don't want to see that. I can't see that.
Targeted attack.
From the Hilton, investigators believe the suspect hopped on a bike and rode to Central Park. Video obtained by CBS News then appears to show him leaving the park on West 85th Street about 15 minutes after the shooting.
What we're looking at is a gunman who was thoughtful and prepared, staked out the scene, began by shooting the person in the back.
Police say the suspect planned carefully, but not perfectly, going to a nearby Starbucks minutes before the shooting. Sources say surveillance images there may have captured enough of his face to run through facial recognition.
The full investigative efforts of the New York City Police Department are well underway, and we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
And police sources say investigators are conducting forensic tests on a water bottle and candy bar wrapper that was found at the Starbucks they believe the suspect was at right before the shooting. They also are processing a cell phone that was discarded near the crime scene.
Before I give my thoughts on this, let me see if I can get this from another source, because I always like to have multiple sources. Before I give my little soliloquy or I give my little explanation, because it might be a little bit more controversial. And I'm going to give you a different spin on it than most other people.
Fox News alert.
I'm going to fast forward it past that. I don't want to show it. If y'all want to check that out, y'all can see it yourself.
Investigation for insider trading. Here to discuss, we've got former federal prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Andrew Cherkosky. Andrew, thanks for making the trip out to Long Island. When you watch the video, what does it look like to you?
It looks like somebody who's somebody trained in firearms, somebody who's capable of using it. He looks insensitive to the fact that he's killing somebody. So there's some degree of preparation, a lot of thought, and he was ready to do it. Whether that means he's a trained assassin, like some people are saying, perhaps it's a step short of that, that he just had practiced a lot with the firearm. But there is definitely a strong motive there. I think that what we see in that video is somebody who is very committed to following through with this crime. And so now there's all sorts of speculation about what that motive could have been, right, and whether that might lead us to actually finding him.
Okay, so that picture right there, I believe, is taken in a nearby Starbucks. And this was before the shooting. And the guy bought a couple of power bars and bought a water and got a cup. And so presumably there would be DNA on that. Obviously, the cops have already hoovered up everything in that Starbucks. But if he is a trained killer, he's probably wearing gloves.
Well, there's the probability that he might be wearing gloves, although we see in the video when he's holding the gun, it looks like he doesn't have that. So are they running that DNA? Are they actually getting something back? Or perhaps that's something in the garbage can that fella that disappeared. I'm most interested in the bike. He went to a bicycle, city bike, and whether there's tracking software on that to be able to figure out where that bike went. X has.
The cartridges said depose, deny, and defend. Also, another reporter that reported says somewhere along there, it said, we want these executives completely out. I want to show y'all something before we deep dive into this. Before I give my thoughts, I want to show y'all something. Give me a second. Let's see if I can find it. Real quick. I don't know if I can find it. When I went through and I started looking at the comments of everything and that everybody was saying about this man or about this whole situation, I was perplexed because I didn't understand. I come from a space where the initial reaction of somebody losing their life is always first supposed to be, oh my God, prayers up for the family. When I went through and I started seeing all of the reactions and stuff on social media and stuff, I was hearing people basically say and celebrating the assassin. People were, listen, we can go through and probe. I think that it was a hit. I also believe that it was somebody that had a grudge against insurance companies and they were bitter. Could be somebody whose wife or husband or somebody died or uncle or father or something because they got denied or something. Who knows? And there's a entire segment that we can dedicate to the crookedness of insurance industries or whatever. But again, we be making an assumption because we don't have enough information to even know who, what, when, where, why, and how. I mean, for all we know, it could be somebody who wrote that on there in order to deter people so that they can make them think it was somebody like that, but it could have really just been a hit. We don't know. We have no clue. But when I went through and I started seeing all of the conversations and the comments from people, what I realized is something that actually helps me to substantiate the way that I'm moving to live my life personally moving forward. And it's that people absolutely have zero compassion. And I mean zero compassion for each other. And they have zero compassion for people that are successful. They have zero compassion for each other. And they have zero compassion for people that are successful. None. By default, the main thing that they start to speculate off of is, what have you done crooked to deserve to be getting shot in the head and the back? Real talk. People are crazy. See, look at this. Said it might be insider trading. It might be this. It might be that. But we don't know yet. And so until we find out what's going on, is it justified for somebody to be waiting outside of a hotel in order to execute somebody else? That's all I'm asking. And what happened to any compassion? You know, I was telling somebody this morning, and I was having a conversation, and I said, listen, let me tell you something. This is the number one reason, and I know y'all don't want to hear this. This is the number one reason why people that have money are silent. It's not that it's old money or people that's used to having stuff. They don't floss. No, people that have resources, the reason why they're not loud with their resources is because they don't want to be a target. You want an example? All you got to do is look at all of this old oil money that's been running around worldwide. All of the sheiks of Dubai and all of this stuff, and the UAE and all of that oil money, man, those people had money for some of the before you and I was even born. They kids grew up in it. You know what they do? Loud. They are loud with their money. They make whole shirts out of gold. They make whole shirts out of gold. People that have resources want to be able to flaunt, enjoy, and showcase and have a good time with their resources. It is the biggest myth of all time from people that don't understand and have not been in a room with a whole lot of people that got resources. They are loud amongst each other. They're silent when it comes to the general public because they don't want to be villainized for their success, regardless of how they got it. Some people get it out the mud, some people don't. It's the same thing with regard to entertainers. It's the same thing with regard to CEOs. It's the same thing with regard to everybody. They got big properties. They got loud money. They private jets and all of that. They just very, very quiet when it comes to presenting themselves to the general public and to you because they don't want to be villainized. And so quiet money has nothing to do with, oh, they just used to it. Quiet money has everything to do with they don't want to get so successful to where they then become the enemy of people that don't even know them and don't know their story, how they got there or whatever. I have never seen a person that wanted to become an uber successful that the general public didn't at some point turn on them. Everybody. You will be villainized for your success, 100%. And so what I seen in the comments of all of these videos was wild. Somebody says, ain't nobody worried about rich people. Boy, you crazy. It's a whole industry about pocket watching out here. It's a whole industry about speculation. Some of the biggest sites that get the most hits are ones where people are speculating about people's net worth. Forbes have made a whole movement and profitable based off of anticipating and estimating somebody's net worth. There is a whole movement based off of trying to figure out how much money somebody got. 100%. People are 100% interested in how much money somebody has. Absolutely. And so people are lying. Absolutely lying. The women want them, the men hate them, and the general public then villainize them because they saying that you got too much. I've seen people say it's no way that people should be billionaires. They should be giving that away. 100%. And so I will tell you that if you wind up becoming successful, and some of y'all that's in here, you know, honestly, I got students, I got people that's a part of the bag chasers, that's millionaires now. And I tell them all the time, listen, if you don't have to, if it doesn't feed into your brand, if it's not a part of what you do to continue to promote people or incentivize them to do the thing that's best for them, if you can, if it's possible to continue to run this race and run up a check without being visible or without actually talking about anything that you've been able to accomplish as a result of it, then do so. If you are a public figure, that's a completely different situation. You use that as a method to continue to bring people in. If you are a person that's just absolutely honest and you showcase your lifestyle, even me, I can't talk about certain things. It's even things that I don't even put out unless I put it in the Patreon because I know what's happening. Every day when I jump on this live stream now, all you see is a black t-shirt. I don't showcase my daughter. I don't highlight my wife except for here or there. You can get a peek and stuff like that. Let me show with y'all something. I want to show y'all something real quick. I'll give you an example. I'm going to show you an example. Because I got a completely different take than y'all do. I want to show you something. I got this message yesterday. Don't know who. Don't know where they from. People always asking me, Anton, why we walking around with security and stuff like that? Why you don't go nowhere unless you go with security and all of that? Somebody goes on my website. I don't know if this is their real name or not. Name is Torrin Justin Wilson. Fake phone number, obviously. Don't know if this is their real email. But this is what they say. Suck my D. Burn in hell. F your garbage S. Gonna effing kill your whack A mother effer. Now, am I to take this serious? Am I supposed to send this to the authorities or am I supposed to keep it real? Do I have to now make sure that my daughter and my wife is in a more secure area? Do we need to make sure that we're in a gated community to where you can't access it and now I got a doorman? Oh, you don't believe me? This is what I see. Let me show you. Because see, I'm telling you that you will start to experience people that say things that you have never met in your entire life. Suck my D, burn in hell. I get messages like this all the time. So now I got to reach out to the authorities. Okay, listen, this is the thing that I got. I got to call my friends up in Lansing, call the sheriffs, call the prosecutors, call certain people in order to have it investigated and all of this stuff. I'm telling you that people hate, absolutely hate. Now, I'm no United Healthcare CEO, but at the same time, these are people that are on the internet that you've never met before. We've created a society of monsters, jealous monsters. And this ain't the first time that I done showed y'all stuff like this. I've showed y'all stuff like this all year long, all last year and stuff like that. My wife get messages from hateful women. I hate you. I can't wait till you divorce him. I will never like you unless you divorce. I get messages like that all the time. So that's why I then make sure, or I'm a lot more careful in everything that I do. I should be able to live my life free. I ain't never committed a crime. I ain't got nothing against nobody. I ain't got no beef with nobody, none of that. My daughter should be able to go to school without any kind of problems. She's trained herself based off of the things that she see me communicate to her to not even say certain things. When people ask her questions, when her teachers say, hey, what is your father? And they ask questions, she just be like, he's just a regular guy, this and that, so on and so forth. She don't say nothing. She ain't tripping. She ain't trying to none of that. She don't want none of that. When she go outside, she dress in a hoodie, sweatshirt, she be chilling. Want none of that visibility. All of the nice stuff that she gets, she just keep to herself, and she shows that around certain friends in certain areas because she understands it. And so all I'm saying is that when I looked at the comments, and I'll continue to stay on top of this story because I want to know more about it before I start to give my opinion about what I think makes the most sense. What I have found, though, is looking at the comments and the reactions, it is a class war. It's 100% a class war, Josh. When I see the comments and the reactions, what I realize is that there is a war and a jealous spirit amongst people of the haves and the have-nots. It is a spirit, and it has completely infected this entire country. The whole eat the rich mantra is crazy. And so when I see stuff like that, and Rita will go through it, or my other assistant will go through it and say, hey, Anton, you want to pay attention to this? We need to make sure that we put this on the radar. Go ahead and make this phone call, so on and so forth. This is what we got to do it. So somebody like Baby Lane Stanfield says, if you make yourself a public figure, that's what comes along with it. I understand that, but it doesn't mean that it's right. So now I deserve, and my family deserve, or anybody, forget me. So anybody that's a public figure deserves to be treated like trash because they're a public figure. I understand what come with it. That's why I be having security. That's why I make the investments that I make. That's why I live in a certain buildings that I live in and all of that. But you telling me that we spend more time villainizing a person that became successful and not holding accountable to bad actors? I got you. Got it. And this is the mindset. This is why I'm not trying to convince people. I'm not trying to make sure that people understand me no more. I just make sure that I make the adjustment and then I move accordingly. I don't trust nobody. I'm not putting nothing past people. I'm not going to make an assumption that you just mean me right. I look at everything that comes across and everybody that I run into very closely. I'm not assuming nothing because it only takes one idiot to do the wrong thing. It only take one idiot to do the wrong thing.